Captain Riley Voss had 3 rules for running a successful cargo operation in the Outer Rim: never ask what's in the boxes, never travel without at least 2 escape routes, and never, ever trust a distress signal that sounds too good to be true. Unfortunately, Riley had the financial discipline of a gambling-addicted space pirate and the common sense of a concussed lemming. "Captain, we've got incoming transmission," announced Bex from the navigator's station, her purple hair bouncing as she swiveled in her chair. Bex had an unhealthy obsession with ancient Earth soap operas and insisted on styling herself after characters from shows that were probably terrible, even when they were new 300 years ago. "Please tell me it's not another invoice from the Port Authority," Riley muttered, slumping deeper into her captain's chair aboard the freighter Lucky Break. The name was either optimistic or ironic, depending on how you looked at their track record. "Nope, it's a distress beacon. Luxury liner called Stellar Paradise went dark about 6 hours ago. They were carrying VIP passengers from the Centauri system." Riley's eyes lit up with the unmistakable gleam of someone about to make a spectacularly bad decision. VIP passengers means expensive luggage. Expensive luggage means salvage rights. From the engine room came the sound of something exploding, followed by creative cursing in at least 4 different languages. Mako emerged moments later, covered in grease and sporting a grin that suggested he'd either fixed something important or broken something catastrophic. With Mako, the odds were 50-50. "Good news, Captain. The hyperdrive is running at peak efficiency," Mako announced proudly. "And the bad news? Well, the environmental systems might be making that weird humming noise for a few more days, but that's totally normal." As if on cue, the lights flickered ominously. Riley rubbed her temples. Mako was brilliant with machines, the kind of engineer who could rebuild a quantum core with spare parts and determination. He was also the kind of engineer who would accidentally create a minor black hole while trying to fix the coffee maker. "Bex, what's our current cargo situation?" "Officially, we're transporting agricultural supplies and mining equipment to Kepler Station," Bex replied, consulting her tablet. "Unofficially, I'm pretty sure those agricultural supplies have serial numbers that don't match any legitimate farming operation." "Perfect. The kind of cargo that no one's going to miss if we take a small detour for a rescue operation." Riley stood up and stretched. "Set course for the Stellar Paradise. If we're lucky, we'll find survivors who'll pay handsomely for rescue. If we're really lucky, we'll find valuable cargo with no one left to claim it." "And if we're unlucky?" Mako asked, wiping his hands on a rag that was somehow dirtier than his hands. "Then we'll have an exciting story to tell over drinks, assuming we survive to tell it." Bex programmed the new coordinates while humming the theme song from As the Nebula Turns, her current favorite show about star-crossed lovers in a space station soap opera. Riley had learned not to ask questions about Bex's entertainment choices, partly because the explanations were always longer than the shows themselves. The Lucky Break changed course, its engines rumbling with the kind of confidence that came from being held together by skill, determination, and possibly some form of cosmic intervention. Through the view screen, the stars shifted as they entered hyperspace, streaking toward what Riley was absolutely certain would be a routine salvage operation. After all, what could possibly go wrong with boarding a mysteriously silent luxury liner in the middle of nowhere? The Stellar Paradise hung in space like a crystalline monument to excess, its hull gleaming with embedded lights that spelled out the ship's name in 17 different languages. Even dark and silent, the luxury liner radiated the kind of wealth that made Riley's cargo hauler look like a particularly shabby tugboat. "Life support shows green across all decks," Bex reported as they approached the massive vessel. "Artificial gravity is functioning, and the docking bay is pressurized. It's like everyone just vanished. Or they're all hiding," Mako suggested helpfully. "Maybe it's a surprise party." "Maybe it's a surprise party." "A surprise party on a ship that cost more than most planetary governments' annual budgets," Riley mused. "I'm sure they were just waiting for 3 complete strangers in a beat-up cargo hauler to arrive." They docked without incident, which should have been Riley's first warning. In her experience, when things went smoothly, the universe was usually preparing to drop something particularly unpleasant on her head. The airlock cycled with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor that belonged in a five-star hotel rather than a spaceship. Crystal chandeliers, real wood paneling, and carpet so thick Riley was tempted to take off her boots. The silence was absolute, broken only by the soft hum of environmental systems. "This is either the most expensive ghost ship in the galaxy, or we're about to become very rich," Riley whispered, drawing her sidearm. Not that it would help much against whatever had happened to 3,000 passengers and crew, but it made her feel slightly less vulnerable. They moved through the ship like tourists in a museum, past restaurants with tables still set for dinner, lounges with half-finished drinks, and shopping areas where merchandise lay scattered, as if people had dropped everything and run. But there were no bodies, no signs of violence, no indication of what had happened to anyone. Captain Bex's voice was unusually quiet. "Check out the entertainment deck." They took the lift to Deck 15, where the ship's main entertainment complex spread out like a small city. Gaming areas, theaters, even a small zoo with exotic animals from across the galaxy. All empty, all perfectly preserved, all creepy as hell. That's when they found the first clue, a massive viewing screen displaying what looked like a game show set, complete with colorful lights and dramatic music. The screen flickered to life as they approached. "Welcome, new contestants, to the galaxy's most exclusive entertainment experience," announced a synthesized voice that managed to sound both cheerful and menacing. "You have been selected to participate in the hunt." Riley felt her stomach drop into her boots. "Please tell me this is some kind of elaborate practical joke." The screen displayed images of the ship's passengers and crew, all wearing expressions of terror as they ran through corridors pursued by shadows that moved too fast to see clearly. The timestamp showed the footage was less than 12 hours old. "The hunt is conducted by our gracious hosts, the Cathara," the voice continued. "As apex predators from the Vega system, they have generously agreed to provide entertainment for our subscribers across 17 star systems." "Subscribers?" Mako squeaked. More images flashed across the screen, 8-foot-tall creatures with 4 arms, sleek black carapaces, and heads that were all teeth and hunting instincts. They moved through the ship's corridors with the fluid grace of natural killers, dragging screaming passengers into darkness. "The Cathara follow ancient hunting traditions," the voice explained, as if discussing a nature documentary rather than mass murder. "Prey receives a 20-minute head start before the hunt begins. This allows for proper fear development and enhances the viewing experience." Riley grabbed Bex and Mako by their collars. "We are leaving. Right now." They ran for the docking bay, but the corridor doors sealed with a definitive thunk. Emergency lighting bathed everything in red, and that cheerful voice echoed through the ship's communication system. "Attention, new contestants. The hunt will begin in 20 minutes. Please note that tampering with ship systems, attempting to leave the designated hunting area, or failing to provide adequate entertainment will result in immediate disqualification and termination." "I hate my job," Riley muttered, checking her weapon's charge. "I really, really hate my job." "Look on the bright side," Mako said, his voice cracking slightly. "At least we're about to be famous." "Yeah, posthumously famous," Bex added, "just like all my favorite soap opera characters." Through the ship's speakers came a sound that made Riley's blood freeze, a low, rumbling purr that sounded like a satisfied predator contemplating its next meal. Somewhere in the darkness of the stellar paradise, the Cathara were preparing for another hunt. The timer on the screen showed 19 minutes and 30 seconds. And counting down. "Okay, team meeting," Riley announced, grabbing a tablecloth from an abandoned restaurant. "What do we know about our situation?" "We're trapped on a luxury liner with alien serial killers who hunt people for entertainment," Bex summarized. "Also, it's being broadcast live, which means my hair looks terrible on intergalactic television." "Focus, Bex." "Mako, what can you tell me about the ship's systems?" Mako was already elbow-deep in an access panel, sparks flying as he worked. "Good news, the ship's automated systems are still running independently. Bad news, they've been modified to prevent any escapes. Worse news, I think I just triggered some kind of security protocol." Alarms began blaring throughout the ship, and Riley could hear the distinctive sound of blast doors sealing. This defined some kind of security protocol. The kind that just announced our exact location to everything with ears, Mako said sheepishly. A low howl echoed through the corridors, followed by the sound of something very large moving very fast through the ship's ventilation system. Riley grabbed her crew and pulled them behind the restaurant's bar just as something crashed through the ceiling. The Kithara that landed in a crouch was even more terrifying in person. 8 feet of sleek killing machine, with 4 arms ending in claws that could probably cut through steel. Its head swiveled toward their hiding spot, and Riley caught a glimpse of too many teeth and eyes that reflected light like a cat's. "Remember," she whispered, "in every soap opera, someone always survives by playing dead." "That only works in medical dramas," Bex hissed back. "In action shows, playing dead gets you killed deader." The Kithara approached their hiding spot with the patience of a predator that knew its prey had nowhere to run. Riley could hear its breathing, a sound like wind through a cave full of bones. Then Mako's comm device chirped. The alien's head snapped toward the sound, and Riley made a decision that was either brilliant or suicidal. She grabbed a bottle of expensive wine from behind the bar and hurled it across the restaurant. The bottle shattered against the far wall, drawing the Kithara's attention just long enough for them to bolt for the exit. They ran through corridors lined with tasteful artwork and designer furniture, their footsteps echoing off marble floors. Behind them, they could hear the Kithara giving chase, its claws clicking against the deck plating with mechanical precision. Left at the intersection, Beck shouted, consulting the ship's directory. "There's a service lift that connects to the maintenance levels." They skidded around the corner just as another Kithara dropped from an overhead vent, blocking their path. This one was smaller but moved faster, its 4 arms weaving hypnotic patterns as it approached. "Plan B," Riley announced, grabbing a decorative vase. "What's Plan B?" Mako asked. "Wing it and hope for the best." Riley threw the vase, which the alien caught effortlessly with one hand while continuing to advance with the other 3. That's when Beck surprised everyone by grabbing a fire extinguisher and spraying foam directly into the creature's face. In Passion Among the Stars, Season 12, Captain Brock defeats the Zephyrian assassin by temporarily blinding it with atmospheric processor coolant, she explained as they ran past the confused alien. "Your soap opera knowledge just saved our lives," Riley panted. "I don't know whether to be impressed or concerned about your life choices." They reached the service lift and descended into the ship's maintenance level, a maze of pipes, conduits and machinery that hummed with barely contained energy. Here, surrounded by the ship's mechanical heart, they finally stopped running. "Okay," Riley said, catching her breath. "What do we know about these things?" "They're fast, they're smart, and they have 4 times as many arms as we do," Mako observed. "Also, they're hunting us for sport, which means they're not trying to kill us quickly," Bex added. "They want us to run and hide and be afraid. It's all about the entertainment value." Riley felt something click in her mind. Entertainment value. "Bex, you said this is being broadcast live across 17 star systems, according to that cheerful murder announcement." "Then they're not just hunters," Riley realized. "They're performers. And performers have egos." Above them, something heavy moved across the ceiling, followed by the sound of metal being carved like butter. The Kithara had found their hiding spot. "Time to go," Riley announced. "But this time we're not just running. We're going to give them a show they'll never forget." The maintenance tunnels provided temporary refuge, but Riley knew it wouldn't last long. The Kithara were systematically searching the ship, and she could hear them communicating with each other through a series of clicks and growls that sounded like a conversation between chainsaws. "Mako, can you access the ship's entertainment system from here?" "Sure, but why would you want to watch a movie while we're being hunted by space monsters?" "Not watch, broadcast. If this whole thing is being transmitted live, I want to see who's watching." Mako's fingers flew over his portable interface, linking into the ship's network through a maintenance port. The screen flickered to life, showing a streaming platform that looked disturbingly similar to the social media sites Riley remembered from Earth. Sweet mother of hyperspace, she breathed. Look at the viewer count. The number at the bottom of the screen showed over 40 million active viewers across multiple star systems. The comment section was scrolling by so fast it was unreadable, but Riley caught enough to understand that this was prime entertainment in Kithara culture. They're rating our performance, Bex said, peering over Riley's shoulder. And apparently, we're only getting 3 stars out of 5. 3 stars. Riley felt personally offended. We've been running for our lives with style and panache. What do they want? Choreographed dance numbers. The stream showed multiple camera angles throughout the ship, following different groups of survivors as they were systematically hunted down. Riley watched in horrified fascination as the Kithara played with their prey, drawing out the fear and desperation for maximum entertainment value. Captain, Mako whispered, I think I found something important. The lead hunter has a profile page. The screen displayed what could only be described as an alien social media profile. The lead Kithara, apparently named something that translated to Razor of the Void, had over 200 million followers and a verified checkmark. His bio read, Elite Hunter, Content Creator, Apex Predator. Subscribe for exclusive hunting content. He's an influencer, Riley said flatly. We're being hunted by an alien influencer. The profile showed his hunting statistics, over 3,000 confirmed kills, participation in hunts across 47 different worlds, and a 5-star rating from the Galactic Predator Network. His recent posts included motivational quotes about the hunt, behind-the-scenes footage of his equipment maintenance, and what appeared to be a collaboration with a Kithara lifestyle brand. You look at his follower engagement, Bex pointed out. He responds to comments, does live Q&A sessions, even takes hunting requests from subscribers. Riley felt her tactical mind shifting into gear. This wasn't just about survival anymore. This was about understanding her enemy, and her enemy, it turned out, was addicted to social media validation. Mako, can you hack into their streaming platform? Probably, but it might take some time. Their security is pretty sophisticated. Do it. I want to see the full scope of what we're dealing with. While Mako worked, Riley studied the Kithara's hunting patterns through the ship's security cameras. They moved with purpose, but also with a sense of showmanship, always positioning themselves for the best camera angles. They were performing for their audience as much as they were hunting. Got it, Mako announced. And Captain, you're going to want to see this. The screen displayed the full Kithara Entertainment Network, hundreds of hunting channels, millions of subscribers, and advertising revenue that probably exceeded the GDP of most civilized worlds. The hunt wasn't just entertainment, it was big business. They've got sponsorship deals, merchandise lines, and even a subscription service for premium hunting content, Mako reported. This is their career. Riley studied the network structure, noting the competitive dynamics between different hunters. There were rivalries, collaborations, and what appeared to be a complex social hierarchy based on viewer metrics and hunting success. X, tell me about competitive reality shows. How do they handle contestants who fight back? Well, in Survivor of the Stellar Colonies, the most popular episodes were always when contestants turned the game around on each other. Audiences love an underdog story, especially when someone outsmarts the perceived villain. And what happens to contestants who become more popular than the hosts? They usually get their own show. Riley smiled for the first time since boarding the ship. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just found our way out of this mess. We're not going to beat the Kithara at their own game. We're going to make them an offer they can't refuse. Above them, something heavy landed on the maintenance deck with a thud that shook the entire section. Through the ventilation grates, Riley could see 4 arms reaching down, testing the strength of the metal barriers. Time for Phase 2, she announced, grabbing her equipment. We're going from prey to predator. Riley's plan was either brilliant or completely insane, which meant it had about a 50% chance of success. In her experience, those were pretty good odds for a Tuesday. Mako, I need you to patch me into their live stream, not as a victim, but as a co-host. Captain, that's the craziest thing you've ever asked me to do, and I once helped you smuggle a cargo hold full of singing crystals past customs. Just do it. And Bex, I need you to start recording everything I do. We're about to create the most viral content in galactic history. The maintenance section shuddered as the Kithara above began cutting through the deck plating. Riley could see sparks falling through the grates as they worked their way toward the team's hiding spot. Okay, you're live in 3, 2, 1, Mako announced. Riley looked directly into the camera interface on Mako's device and smiled with the confidence of someone who definitely knew what they were doing. Hello, Kithara Entertainment Network. My name is Captain Riley Voss, and I have a proposition for Razor of the Void. The comment section exploded. Viewer numbers began climbing as word spread through the network that one of the prey was speaking directly to the audience. I know you can hear me, Razor, Riley continued, using the hunter's social media handle. Your hunting technique is impressive, but your content strategy needs work. 3-star ratings. From an apex predator with 200 million followers? That's embarrassing. Through the ship's communication system came a sound that was definitely not pleased. Riley had gotten the lead hunter's attention. Here's the thing about hunting humans, she said, beginning to pace as the cutting sounds above grew more intense. We're not just prey. We're the species that invented reality television, social media manipulation, and competitive trolling. You want better ratings? Let me show you how it's done. Riley pulled out her portable interface and began accessing the ship's entertainment system. Within seconds, she had hijacked the main display screens throughout the ship, replacing the hunting footage with what appeared to be a talk show set. Welcome to Humans vs. Predators, the galaxy's first cross-species collaboration stream, she announced. I'm your host, Captain Riley Voss, and today we're going to revolutionize hunting entertainment. The ceiling above them finally gave way, and Razor of the Void dropped into their hiding space with predatory grace. 8 feet of killing machine. 4 arms spread wide, teeth bared in what might have been a smile or a threat. You interrupt the hunt. The creature spoke in heavily accented standard, its voice like grinding metal. I'm improving the hunt, Riley corrected. Look at your viewer metrics. She gestured to Mako's interface, which showed their audience had climbed to over 60 million and was still rising. The comment section was moving so fast it was just a blur of excitement. Your followers love this. Prey that fights back intellectually instead of just running? This is premium content. Razor tilted his head, considering. In the background, Riley could see other Kithara arriving, drawn by the unusual development in their carefully orchestrated entertainment. You propose what, exactly? The collaboration. You're the galaxy's top predator. I'm representing the galaxy's most creative prey species. Together, we create content that breaks every viewing record in the network. Riley was making this up as she went, but the numbers didn't lie. Their impromptu talk show had generated more engagement in 5 minutes than most hunts did in their entire run. Bex, show them the soap opera death scene from Passion Among the Stars, Riley said. To her credit, Bex immediately launched into a dramatic monologue from her favorite show, complete with overwrought emotions and a fake death scene that was so ridiculous it was entertaining. The Kithara watched in what appeared to be fascination. Human entertainment is unpredictable, Razor observed. Exactly. And unpredictable content gets shared across social networks. Shared content increases follower engagement. Higher engagement means better sponsorship deals. Riley could see she had his attention. The other Kithara watching the stream metrics with something approaching professional interest. What do you propose? The collaboration video. Apex Predator reacts to human internet culture. I teach you about viral marketing. You teach me about efficient hunting techniques. We split the revenue 60-40. Why 60-40? Because you have the bigger follower count, and for now. And that got a reaction. Razor's eyes narrowed, and Riley could sense she'd hit exactly the right note of competitive challenge. Mako, rescue the others and get them up here. We're about to film the most ridiculous collaboration video in galactic history. And if this doesn't work, Mako whispered. Then we'll die having created the most viral death scene ever recorded. Somehow, that's actually reassuring. 20 minutes later, Riley found herself in the surreal position of teaching a group of apex predators how to perform Earth's most embarrassing viral dance trends. The irony was not lost on her that she was literally dancing for her life. No, Razor. You have to put more enthusiasm into the hip movement. Riley demonstrated the dance move that had inexplicably taken Earth's internet by storm 3 centuries ago. Remember, you're an influencer. Commitment to the bit is everything. The lead Kithara attempted the movement with his 4 arms, creating a dance that was simultaneously terrifying and hilarious. His fellow hunters watched with the kind of professional interest usually reserved for studying prey behavior. This is ridiculous, growled one of the other Kithara. This is genius, Riley corrected, checking the stream metrics. We're approaching 100 million viewers. Your network has never seen numbers like this. Bex was providing commentary like a sports announcer, narrating each dance move with the dramatic flair she'd learned from soap opera voiceovers. Mako had somehow managed to sync the ship's lighting system to create a disco effect that would have been impressive at any nightclub. The key to viral content is relatability. Riley explained as she taught Razor how to properly execute what humans had once called the floss dance. Your audience needs to see you as approachable, not just a killing machine. You're still apex predators, but now you're apex predators with personality. The comments section was absolute chaos. Riley caught glimpses of messages in dozens of languages, most expressing shock, amusement, or demands for more content. Several appeared to be from other predator species, asking for collaboration opportunities. I do not understand how this movement relates to hunting efficiency, Razor said, attempting to coordinate all 4 arms in the dance sequence. It doesn't. That's the point. Entertainment doesn't have to be practical, it just has to be engaging. Riley's portable interface chimed with an incoming message. She glanced at the screen and nearly dropped the device in shock. Razor, you need to see this. The message was from the Galactic Entertainment Syndicate, the largest media corporation in known space. They were offering Razor of the Void an exclusive contract for his own variety show, complete with guest appearances, merchandise deals, and a production budget that exceeded the annual military spending of most planetary governments. They want to offer you your own show, Riley explained. Congratulations, you're about to become the most famous entertainer in the galaxy. Razor stopped mid-dance move, his predatory instincts temporarily overwhelmed by what Riley recognized as the universal expression of someone who had just realized they were about to become very, very rich. And what of your crew? Well, according to the contract terms, they want us as regular guest stars. Apparently, the human Kithara dynamic is testing extremely well with focus groups. The absurdity of the situation finally hit Riley. They had gone from being hunted for sport to being offered entertainment contracts, all because she had recognized that the deadliest predators in the galaxy were just as susceptible to social media addiction as anyone else. So, do we have a deal? She asked. You let us go, we all become rich and famous, and nobody gets eaten. Razor considered this for a moment, then extended one of his 4 hands in what Riley hoped was a gesture of agreement rather than preparation for disembowelment. A deal. But I keep creative control over my content. Absolutely. Your show, your rules. They shook hands. Or rather, Riley shook one of Razor's hands while the other 3 continued practicing dance moves. The live stream audience had reached nearly 200 million viewers, and the engagement metrics were breaking records across the entertainment network. Captain, Bex said quietly, I'm getting a friend request. Riley looked at her own interface and saw notifications flooding in. Friend requests, collaboration offers, sponsorship deals, example, and what appeared to be a marriage proposal from someone calling themselves Apex_Predator_Fan_47. Welcome to internet fame, Riley said. It's weird, it's overwhelming, and it pays surprisingly well. As they prepared to leave the stellar paradise, Riley reflected on the strangest day of her smuggling career. They had boarded the ship expecting to find valuable cargo and instead had discovered that sometimes the most valuable thing you can offer someone is a chance to go viral. Her con device chimed with another notification. Razor of the Void had tagged her in a post, successful collaboration with human entertainment specialist, content creation opportunities expanding, 5 stars. Anne. Riley smiled and posted her own review, professional, efficient, surprisingly good dancer. I would recommend for future projects. With 4 stars. She docked 1 star because, after all, they had tried to hunt her for sport. But the dancing had been surprisingly fun.